We all know that Uber and Lyft have safety issues, but we didn't realize just how unsafe it truly is.
Xbox, Twitter, Uber,
Postmates,
Netflix, MoviePass,
Google,
Facebook, eBay,
DoorDash,
Apple, Amazon, Airbnb,
Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and yeah, safety with Uber and Lyft. We laugh when we talk about it because we all know the truth. The truth is, there is no safety in Uber and Lyft. Not if you're a passenger, not if you're a rider. There are drivers who get attacked by their passengers all the time, and then they find out that they simply won't be matched with that passenger, and yet that passenger goes on to beat someone just like a couple nights later. We have passengers who report that horrendous acts happen in the car, and yet the driver is typically not deactivated. Doing Uber and Lyft, whether you're a driver or a passenger, can go from I'm just doing this for extra beer money or I just need some to get a ride home, and it can quickly turn into I am fighting for my effing life in the hospital. And the stories today are troublesome and worrisome. Like, they truly are. Like, let's look at this one. NYC woman accuses Lyft driver of, I can't even say that, relieving himself in front of her. The New York City Police Department confirmed that it's investigating a woman's allegations that her Lyft driver began relieving himself while taking her from Brooklyn to Manhattan to a job interview. She only wants to be gone by Kathleen. She recorded the driver's actions, which is a smart thing to do, and said, I was appalled, disgusted. No woman should have to go through that. And you know what? That almost seems like she got off easy. I mean, what about this person? Lyft allegedly let a driver give more than 700 rides after he stomped on a passenger's head. This is a Brooklyn musician right here. Around 2 a.m., Jonathan Pratt's Lyft driver arrived to pick him up and allegedly yelled profanities and demanded Pratt get into the car. Pratt attempted to refuse the ride, but the driver lifted Mr. Pratt and slammed him headfirst onto the hard ground, smashing his head so hard that he lost consciousness. The Lyft driver stomped on and kicked on Mr. Pratt's head, hands, arms, legs, and other parts. The lawsuit continues. Part of the assault was captured on the security camera of a nearby bodega reviewed by Motherboard. This is the video. I'm sure they have it somewhere here. If you want, you can check it out yourself. We're not going to watch it here. I mean, that's bad. Here's a guy who is literally attacking Lyft's customers. And although actually the drivers are technically their customers. I guess it's okay if the customers beat up their business associates. I don't know. But yeah, guy got more than 700 rides. Now, why is this? Well, we might actually have an answer why. Now, this, granted, is about Uber. And the last two stories we read were about Lyft. That's just the way it rolls sometimes. But Uber had like a little internal investigation about safety. And what it found was very troubling. Now, the Wall Street Journal, or maybe it was the Washington Post, it was one of those two, reported on this, but you got to pay to read that article. So we're kind of getting this through The Verge now. And here's a headline. Uber stopped its own investigators from reporting crimes to the police. We're not law enforcement. This is where it gets truly terrifying. The special investigations team inside Uber, which fields complaints from riders and drivers, is not allowed to escalate those issues to law enforcement or file official police reports, even when they get confessions of felonies, according to the Washington Post. They are also not allowed to advise victims or potential victims of crimes to seek legal counsel, according to the report, which was based on interviews with more than 20 current and former investigators who worked at Uber's investigations unit in Arizona. The investigators are also allegedly instructed to protect Uber, basically protect Uber first, and make sure it is not held liable for any crimes that are committed by people using the company's ride-hailing platform. You know, the funny thing about this is I actually had to deal with Uber's trust and safety twice. There was one situation where the passengers were smoking in my car, pulling the emergency brake, and the guy in the front even leaned over to press on the accelerator. Obviously, reported that person. That was the first time I got a call from Uber. I'll never forget the guy. He's like, "Hi, I'm David from Uber. I got a really disturbing email." Like, that's how he opened it. That was Had to admit, that was a very memorable way to open the conversation. And then the second time, which I actually did make a video about, was the South Korean guy who was drunk, slammed me against the door, took my phone, all that jazz. One of my most viewed videos ever. You may even say it's a viral video for this channel. But anyway, all kidding aside. And I remember, like, dude scratched up my car, threatened me. They did not offer, Uber called me again, did not offer to report the guy to the police, did not offer any medical assistance, did not even replace the phone that the guy broke. I had a police report and everything. Uber would not help me with anything. You know, and after those two instances, that's when you start carrying the pepper spray and stuff, because it's like, okay, you're clearly not gonna help me. You absolutely are not. So hearing that Uber protection is there to basically protect Uber first and foremost, that makes sense, because in hindsight, the question's very interesting. Are you hurt? Do you plan to seek medical attention? Do you plan to file a police report? Like, it's very odd questions. In hindsight, they're trying to see if I'm going to sue them. That's what this is all about, really. Those jerks. So anyway, in that vein, the investigators told the paper that even the language they use when communicating with alleged victims is carefully worded to avoid the appearance that Uber is taking a side. Interesting. Yeah, that's also why when I'm like, so what's going to happen to the passenger who did this to me? They were like, we can't speak about what's going to happen to this particular person, but in some instances, they have lost their account. That was how it was worded to me anyway. The investigators also said they're not supposed to specifically ask alleged perpetrators about claims against them. Uber told the Post that it's the victim's choice to report an incident to the police, a position the company tells The Verge it arrived at after consulting experts. When you say consulting experts, I bet it's lawyers. Like, hey, you know, Bob, we can call you Bob, right? I mean, you're legally representing us, right? If someone comes to us and files a complaint and we listen and we say, that's bad, if you feel really threatened, you should go to the police, that counts as us doing something, right? Absolutely. It's up to them to choose to go to the police or not. Well, thank you, Bob. You have been very, very helpful. In fact, tell you what, does your wife like Target? Here's a gift card. I don't know exactly what's on it, but go get her something nice if there's enough money. No, that's probably how it works. Probably. Obviously, that was satirical in nature. Here's their quote. At the end of the day, we're not the judge and jury to determine whether a crime has occurred. Wow. We're here to gather information, make a business decision. We're not law enforcement. Okay, you can't determine whether or not a crime occurred, but can you determine whether or not the person violated the terms of service? If they have evidence that they were attacked or assaulted, is that not evidence that maybe you don't want to do business with them? I love how they say, we're here to gather information, make a business decision. Basically, what that means, in my opinion, this is me interpreting this. I could be wrong. Of course, I could be wrong. That seems to me like Uber's kind of going like, so, how liable would we be if we let this person continue to use our service and we continue to collect money from them? I mean, clearly they have no problems with letting some drivers take hundreds of rides more, even after, on camera, I want to add, they've been caught, you know, smashing a guy's head in the pavement and things like that. So anyway, here's the next, this one's really funny. We are very proud of this team's work and know they approach their jobs with tremendous compassion and understanding. Oh my gosh. I remember reading Travis Kalanick's apology letter that he never got to send a couple weeks ago, and that seemed more believable than this. Characterizing this team as anything but providing support to people after a difficult experience is just wrong. No. Why is this wrong, Uber? Look, up here, at the end of the day, we're not the judge and jury to determine whether a crime has occurred. We're here to gather information, make a business decision. So, forgive me if I think you're here for reasons other than providing support to people after a difficult experience. Forgive me if I don't believe that that is what your your special safety team is here for. Like, we will continue to put safety at the heart of everything we do and implement new approaches based on expert guidance to the benefit of both our customers and employees. Yeah, like clearly like you've been doing. Clearly how you've been taking down information and not, you're not deactivating drivers. I mean, granted, I know that's Lyft, but you know, we've heard stories of Uber drivers who have also stayed on long after a complaint is made. So this isn't a new thing. We know that you're not, removing bad passengers from the platform. You're not doing anything yet. You've pretty much said you don't care. It's as long as it's a business decision, as long as your legal experts tell you what is and isn't okay, you're not going to do anything. But safety is the number one thing. Yeah. Keep in mind, Dar Khosravi said a year ago that he wanted Uber to become the safest transportation platform on the planet. Well, yeah. But the Post report seems to show that Uber is still dealing with basic problems that it's had years, like how its three strikes approach allows bad users to stay on the platform and harm others in the process. Yeah, and one of the reasons that these bad actors fall through the cracks is because a lot of the people who are dealing with these situations don't even have any experience in law enforcement. They are usually come from jobs like fry cook, cashier, or barista. And Uber tells The Verge that it has continued to enhance the team by actively hiring experienced specialists from diverse backgrounds such as social services, crisis management, and law enforcement, who can manage reports of much more serious safety incidents and have gone through training on how to deal. Yeah, no, that's garbage. That's absolutely garbage. Now, is Uber doing anything about this? Well, they did launch the 911 safety integration in Massachusetts, so, I don't know what to say anymore on this one, to be perfectly honest. If you want to get somewhere safely, don't call an Uber or a Lyft. I guess that's all I can say. Yeah, I think the blowback's going to be big from this one. I really do. People will not like reading this report. Now, will they actually stop using Uber and Lyft? Oh, heck if I know. A few might. I think most people will be drawn in by the cheap prices and everything. I mean, that's why they let it get to this point. I mean, they like their cheap prices. So yeah, there's not a whole lot more we can talk about in this one. Basically, if you're a passenger, have protection. If you are a driver, have protection. And if you can, have a friend pick you up and bring you home before relying on an Uber and Lyft. That's where we're going to leave this. Actually, before we finish this one, before I do the spiel, I did notice this afterwards. Senator Blumenthal assails how Uber and Lyft deal with driver misconduct following Washington Post report. This is big because more and more as Congress continues to look at Uber and Lyft, like this is, yeah, more regulations are coming. So here's the story. Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat, Connecticut, on Wednesday sent letters to both Uber and Lyft seeking information about their driver review policies following a Washington Post report about how Uber prioritizes liability concerns over safety. Blumenthal specifically cited the issue of SA and misconduct by Uber and Lyft drivers. He said Uber's response to alleged incidents was inadequate, including when the company doesn't report such incidents to law enforcement, as the Post revealed in an investigation Wednesday. In a letter Blumenthal wrote to Uber CEO Dar Khosravi, he said he was alarmed by Uber's public statements about this issue, which indicate a brazenly careless attitude about your responsibility to your customers. He cited Uber executive Tracy Breeden, global head of women's safety, who said in an interview that with the Post that the company is not judge and jury to determine whether a crime committed. Blumenthal sent a separate letter to Lyft CEO Logan Green in which he criticized Lyft's labyrinthine complaint procedures and an inadequate response to complaints. A Post investigation published published last month described how Lyft's response to allegations of sexual harassment failed victims. He called on Uber to release a transparency report about the prevalence of SM that occurs in Uber rides, which it has been promising to do since May 2018. Well, shoot, man, that's more than a year later. What's taken them so long? Uber said it will release the report by year's end. Yep, gotta get through at least one more quarter of losses. You know, just maybe they can turn that around. So, anyway, yeah, and Blumenthal was pretty aggressive towards Uber and Lyft. He did not like any of this at all. So, yeah, there's going to be some heads rolling, as they say. Uber and Lyft are already under fire for how they pay their workers. Now they're going to be under fire for how they deal with the safety issue. So anyway, yeah, now we are going to end the spiel. What do you think about any of this? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.